to Mad Science. My name is Dayna. I'm the Buena Vista Branch Manager with Monterey County Free Libraries. Today we're going to be doing 2 spooky science experiments. Perfect in time for the Halloween season. So stay tuned and we're going to go over what the experiments are and the supplies that you're going to need to do them. For our first Mad Science experiment, we are going to be creating spooky bubbles. Super easy and fun experiment with things you probably have in your house. So let's go over what you are going to need today to make your own spooky bubbles. You're going to want light corn syrup, dish soap, water, of course. You're going to need a paper cup, any type of little cup like this. This one I just drew a ghost face on it with a Sharpie if you have it. Later we're going to be testing adding a little bit of food coloring to it to make ghoulish bubbles. A straw, mine is a reusable straw. Anything you have around your house, we're going to be blowing our bubbles with this. A stir stick, could be anything, popsicle stick. And then I have 3 different glasses. You don't need it for the experiment. Mine is just so I can demonstrate. And then you're going to want a large container. This is where we're going to be mixing our bubble solution. You're also going to want a measuring cup and a tablespoon. That's all you need to make your own spooky bubbles. So stay tuned and let's get started. Now that we have all our supplies that we need for our spooky bubble experiment, let's talk a little bit about the science behind bubbles. What are bubbles? Bubbles are just a thin soapy film that we can fill with air. That's all that they are. Super easy to make. But when we do the experiment today, I want you to pay attention to what happens to the bubbles when we blow the bubbles in our cup. You're going to see the bubbles start to merge together. So they sometimes can form a bigger bubble, but they also, when they merge together, they form 120-degree angles. It's going to look like a hexagon. So observe what happens when you start to blow your bubbles in your cup. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that we're going to want to do is make the actual bubble solution. So in your larger container, you're going to want 1 cup of water. So we have 1 cup of water here in our larger, I'm going to move these off to the side. We have 1 cup of water in our larger container. You're going to want 2 tablespoons, so I'm going to get my measuring spoon. This science experiment is also a really good way to talk about math and measuring. So we're going to need 2 tablespoons of corn syrup. So let's go ahead and add that to our large container, and this stuff is pretty sticky. So 1, let's add 1 more. That should be enough. There you go. Okay, and then to the same mixture, we're going to add 4 tablespoons of dish soap. So here's 1. There we go. Here's 2. We need 2 more. 3. 4. So we just put in 4 tablespoons of dish soap and 2 tablespoons of light corn syrup mixed with 1 cup of water. So now that we have all our ingredients in the container, let's go ahead. We're going to take our stir stick. So let's stir, stir, stir. You're going to notice it has a really thick consistency. So keep stirring until everything's nice and combined. The cool thing about using blue dish soap, it creates a really cool effect. Okay, that should be good. I'm seeing a lot of bubbles, so it's nice and frothy. Okay, so we're going to leave this one aside for a second. So to make this a true science experiment, we're going to test 3 different solutions first. So, in the first cup, we have plain water. So what do you think is going to happen when we blow bubbles in our plain cup of water? Do you think we're going to get any bubbles? Let's test. we have water bubbles, but they immediately disappear. In our second cup, I mixed water and dish soap. Do you think we're gonna create big bubbles? Let's take a look. Are we ready? Yeah, they're starting to. Look at that. Very cool. But let's see if we notice anything different about the bubbles when we add the solution with the corn syrup. So go ahead, pour a little bit in your cup. If you have created your ghost cup already, fantastic. You'll notice with this one, the bubbles are already starting to pop, but they did form that hexagon shape on the top. I'm gonna give it one final stir. Are we ready to create our spooky bubbles? Ready? If you'll see, I was able to create a big bubble, and on the side, I have a cluster of hexagon bubbles. So what mixture created the best bubbles? Was it the water with just dish soap, or was it the water, the dish soap, and the corn syrup? So go ahead and observe the differences that you notice when you create your bubbles. So to take this science experiment a little bit further, if you have a ruler, fantastic. If not, you can just use your hands to measure. So pick a solution, and we're gonna try to blow a really tall cluster of bubbles. We'll call it our big spooky ghost bubble. Are we ready? Okay, so let's see if we can make a really tall tower with our spooky bubble solution. Let's move these out of the way. Because I had a lot of success with the bubble and corn syrup and dish soap solution, I'm gonna use that one to make my bubble ghost. Are we ready? Okay. Oh, I popped mine. But mine got pretty big with just one gigantic bubble and a little cluster of hexagon bubbles. So we just created our own spooky ghost bubbles. And feel free to put them inside of a cute little paper cup. Give it a stir, and let's see. I made a spooky ghost. So that's as simple as it is to create bubble science and your own spooky ghosts. So stay tuned. We're going to jump into our next experiment, which is a ghost inflator with just vinegar and baking soda. For our final mad science experiment today, we are going to be inflating our spooky balloons using a chemical reaction. In one of the Steam Time videos, I talked before about chemical reactions. When you mix vinegar and baking soda, when they combined, they form a gas called carbon dioxide. And gases like to expand and fill up space. So that chemical reaction we are going to use to try to inflate our spooky balloons. To create our spooky ghost balloons using baking soda and vinegar, we just need a few things. You probably have them at your house. You're going to want vinegar, baking soda, balloons, just plain birthday balloons, any color will work, a plastic water bottle, a Sharpie if you have it, if you want to draw a face on your balloon, a half a tablespoon, and a piece of paper. So if you do not have a funnel or something to pour the baking soda into your balloon, you can actually make a funnel just by using paper. So for time's sake, I went ahead and inside my balloon, I drew a little spooky face on it. There is half a tablespoon of baking soda inside of my balloon. And one important thing to do is before you draw your face and do the experiment, stretch your balloon out really, really well. Give it a couple stretches, stretch the top, because we're going to be putting this part over our water bottle. So once you have your spooky balloon filled with baking soda, you're going to want to add half a cup of vinegar to your water bottle. Now, these measurements I would stick to because when I tested it, the more you use of each, the bigger the reaction is going to be. So if you don't want to have a huge mess or you don't want your balloon to explode, I would stick to the measurements that I'm talking about in this video. So half a tablespoon of baking soda to half a cup of vinegar seems to be the perfect amount. So once you have the baking soda in your balloon and the vinegar in your bottle, you're going to want to take the opening of your balloon, stretch it out a little bit, and you're going to put it over the water bottle like this. Put it all the way down, make sure it covers, but the important thing is do not let the baking soda drop into the water bottle yet. Okay, so let's see if we can inflate our spooky ghost with a chemical reaction of baking soda and vinegar with carbon dioxide gas that's created. So are we ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, and let's see if it'll inflate, 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 inflate. Whoa! There it goes. Cool. So thank you everybody so much for joining me today for Mad Science. I hope you try some of these experiments at home, and I hope you have a very happy Halloween. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.